Hey, audience, kita.
Kita tahu tempatnya. Udah diangkat.
a hi si a le hi aha hey. Ada. Cek. Cek 1 2 1 2. Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we feeling today? All good? All good. Are you ready for MIKTA Goes to Campus? Yay! Okay. I would like to check the audiences first. Is everybody here from Universitas Hasanuddin or not? Raise your hands if you're from Universitas Hasanuddin. Okay, probably 1,000 candidates, 1,000 delegates here from Universitas Hasanuddin. Are there anyone who is not from Universitas Hasanuddin? Raise your hands, don't be shy. Where are you from? Okay, is that in Makassar as well? Yes, okay. Sorry, I'm not a local here, so anyone else from outside of Makassar maybe? Outside of Makassar? Okay, so no problem. Please give yourself a big round of applause for you being here for the third MIKTA Goes to Campus talk show. And before we commence, we would like to invite, I was going to say that we need you to fill the front row seat, but I see that you are all very Please remember to either turn off your phone or put it on silent mode. Can we agree on that? Yes. Okay, before we start, I think we should introduce ourselves. My name is Joel, and my beautiful partner here is?
I'm Yuyu.
Yuyu. So me, Joel, and Yuyu will be your co-host for today's third MIKTA Goes to Campus talk show, MGTC in Makassar. Are you excited? Yeah, okay. So I think we should begin in a moment. Before we commence, we would like to invite everyone here to stand up as we will sing our national anthem, Indonesia Raya. Ladies and gentlemen, here in our room we have the presence of Honorable Professor Dr. Muhammad Nasrumasi, the Vice Rector on Research, Innovation and Partnership of Universitas Hasanuddin. We also have the presence of Your Excellency Mr. Mushin Shihab as the Director for Development, Economic and Environmental Affairs, the Directorate of Multilateral Cooperation, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia. Please give a big round of applause. We also have the presence of Your Excellency Ambassador Alvarez Reina of the United Mexican States for Indonesia. And we also have our distinguished speakers and discussants. Please give a big round of applause for them. And we would like to ask Your Excellencies here to stand up as we will sing our national anthem, Indonesia's national anthem, Indonesia Raya.
you, ladies and gentlemen. You may now be seated. Thank you. Honorable Professor Dr. Muhammad Nasrumasi, PhD, as the Vice Rector on Research, Innovation, and Partnership of Universitas Hasanuddin. Your Excellency, Mr. Mushin Shihab, Director for Development, Economic, and Environmental Affairs, Directorate of Multilateral Cooperation, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia. Mr. Alvarez Reina of the United Mexican States, distinguished speakers and discussants, and all participants here. Welcome to today's third MIKTA Goes to Campus Talk Show, Makassar! Woo! Please give a big round of applause. Okay, so basically we are here for a reason, right? We're doing something very big. We are part of a history in the making here. Can you tell us a little bit more about this MIKTA Goes to Campus Talk Show? What is it actually?
Okay, so MIKTA, MGTC is one of MIKTA's outreach program under Indonesia coordinatorship, which is aimed at raising the public's awareness, including universities, on what MIKTA is and what it stands for. It is conducted to achieve two of the key objectives in MIKTA's cooperation. This is inclusivity and innovation. This event aims to share first-hand information regarding MIKTA programs and future cooperation planning from our speakers and discussants, as well as receiving feedbacks from the relevant stakeholders of students, scholars, and the general public alike. As you might be aware of, the first ever MGTC was held at Universitas Indonesia, Depok on February 8, 2018, setting up the stone for a more outreach program in the form of the second MGTC at University 11 Maret, Surakarta on April 17, 2018. Both events were met with outstanding enthusiasm from the participants who were excited to finally get to know MIKTA more from first-hand perspective, as we always invite prominent representatives from the MIKTA states to have interactive discussion with the discussants and participants. And today, we are holding the third MIKTA Goes to Campus Talk Show here in the beautiful port city of Makassar, South Sulawesi. And I must say, with even more enthusiastic participants like we've never seen before.
True.
And today, Joe, is a history in the making, and we can probably say that we are part of it.
Okay, please give a big round of applause for MIKTA Goes to Campus. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, if you can see in the background over there, MIKTA is, let's say, a group of economic, a group for economic fostering economic relations between prospects and potentials are. Okay, before we commence, allow me today. So basically, today's program will consist of, first, we will have the opening remarks by the Vice Rector on Research, Innovation, and Partnership of Universitas Hasanuddin, and also from Mr. Mushin Shihab, the Director of Economic Development and Environmental Affairs from Ministry of Foreign Affairs Indonesia. And then we will have an exchange of token of appreciation and gifts between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia and also from Universitas Hasanuddin for the goodwill cooperation that we are doing here. And then we will have a pre-quiz before we start the discussion to warm up the audiences. Let's see how much knowledge of MIKTA that you're already aware of. And for this pre-quiz, there will be souvenirs. I see some of you are already smiling, so yeah. Do not Google MIKTA now, you need to be focused. And then we will have the star of today's agenda, which is the discussion and the talk show itself, the third MIKTA Goes to Campus with our respected speakers and discussants. And then we will have also a post-discussion quiz. So this quiz will be basically originated from the materials given by our speakers and discussants. So be ready, listen carefully. And then last, we will ask for insights or comments from the participants here for their hope for MIKTA or their comments regarding the show itself. Okay?
Okay, without further ado, I'm honored to welcome Professor Muhammad Nasrumasi, the Vice Rector of Research, Innovation and Partnership of Universitas Hasanuddin, to deliver his opening remarks. Please welcome Professor Nasrumasi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Director of Development, Economic and Environmental Affairs, as a representative of the General Director of Multilateral Cooperation, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable MIKTA representative from Mexico, from Indonesia, from South Korea, from Turkey, and from Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let us express our greatest gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for the help we had so that we can have today in this event. It is an honor for me to talk in the international event like this. Globalization is a currently discourse that cannot be avoided anymore. People from all over the world now moving from one place to another place and interact each other much frequently. These people come from different nations, bringing with each of them different cultural background. So the meeting of the different always create possibility of conflict to happen. Therefore, intercultural understanding between people with different culture background is much needed in such context. And therefore, we need more and more time to sit together in one place to save and reshape our perspective on how to create better global interaction and therefore better life for human beings all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are here together in one place to participate in the event initiated by MIKTA, a forum consisting of several countries including Mexico, Indonesia, South Korea, Turkey, and Australia. And the objective of this forum is to support global environment, global government, global public goods, and dialogue about international issues is very relevant with our global shared interest to build better life on human being. The theme of MIKTA dialogue this year is fostering creative economic and contributing to global peace. It is a great expectation of all of us that activity of MIKTA forum this year can be well disseminated to many people in Indonesia, including in Makassar, especially in our student in Universitas Hasanuddin. So, on behalf of academic community of Universitas Hasanuddin, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to University Hasanuddin has been selected as a place for MIKTA forum today. I have expected to Director of Development, Economic and Environmental General Director of Multilateral Cooperation of Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Faculty of Social and Political Science, Universitas Hasanuddin, for the organizing this important meeting. May Allah bless all of us with the best health so that we can achieve the purpose of today's meeting. So, the third event of MIKTA Goes to Campus is now officially open. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Professor Masrum Nasi, for delivering remarks.
Now I would like to kindly invite His Excellency Mr. Mushin Shihab from the representative of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia to deliver his remarks, which officially opens to the events as well. You may have the floor, Mr. Shihab. Please give a big round of applause for Mr. Shihab.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to you all. Let me at the outset send the very best regards from Director General for Multilateral Cooperation, as well as his apology for not being able to be with us today, because only a few days back that the Minister of Foreign Affairs is summoned by the Parliament to have a hearing. It's a regular hearing, but then it had been scheduled 3 months ago. This MIKTA goes to campus, but unfortunately the Director General today has to join the Minister to the hearing at the Parliament. But I'm here to read out the message from the Director General for Multilateral Cooperation. Let me read out the message from the Director General. Professor Dr. Muhammad Nasrum Messi, PhD, Vice Rector of Research, Innovation and Partnership Affairs, University of Hasanuddin. Ambassador Armando Gonzalo Alvarez, Reina, Ambassador of the United Mexican States to the Republic of Indonesia. Mr. Alistair Cox, Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of Australia in Jakarta. I see also Consul General, Mr. Richard, Ibu Ima, Ibu Rahima Ibrahim, Pak Nanto, and also Mr. Hak Jokim. Very good morning to you all. Let me begin by extending my appreciation to our host, Professor Dr. Muhammad Nasrum Masri, PhD, Vice Rector of Research, Innovation and Partnership Affairs, Universitas Hasanuddin, for his valuable support towards the preparation of the 3rd edition of MIKTA Goes to Campus. This important public outreach event is a testament of the excellent and effective collaboration between government and academia. Correspondingly, allow me to also extend my warm welcome to our distinguished panelists and moderator, as well as all the participants here. I thank you for making the time to participate at the 3rd series of MIKTA Goes to Campus talk show. Excellencies, distinguished speakers, discussion participants, ladies and gentlemen. As you might be aware, today's MIKTA Goes to Campus at Universitas Hasanuddin is the 3rd edition of its kind and the first ever to be held in the eastern part of Indonesia, here in Makassar. Universitas Hasanuddin's renowned status as one of the top universities in Indonesia with international accreditation from ASEAN University Network Quality Assurance makes it an ideal host of this important event. MIKTA Goes to Campus is one of Indonesia's flagship initiatives during its coordinatorship of MIKTA in 2018, aimed at promoting public awareness and understanding towards MIKTA. The first and second edition of MIKTA Goes to Campus were respectively held at Universitas Indonesia in Depok and Universitas 11 Maret in Solo last February and April. In my views, events such as this important as it builds awareness among academic circles and other opinion shapers concerning MIKTA's priorities and activities. And it maximizes MIKTA's visibility in the eyes of the general public, as well as creates space for ideas and enriches the perspectives of MIKTA countries in further exploring a new style of diplomacy. Hence, it is indeed in MIKTA's interest to ensure the continuity of such initiative in the next coordinatorship. At this event, not only will we be discussing the inspirational vision behind the establishment of MIKTA, but we will also delve into MIKTA's significant achievements to date, its main challenges and key opportunities, as well as strategies to maintain its relevance and roles within the global governance. To conclude my remarks, it is my keen hope that today's talk show will serve as an avenue to garner inputs in further shaping MIKTA's focus and priorities to help provide creative solutions to global challenges and champion the strengthening of multilateralism. With that, it is a privilege for me, of course, on behalf of Director General for Multilateral Affairs, to officially open the third edition of MIKTA Goes to Campus. I wish all of us a productive and successful discussion. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Please give a big round of applause for Mr. Shihab. And now we will commence to the exchange of tokens of appreciation. So I would like to have Mr. Shihab here and Mr. Vice Rector over here to have an exchange of tokens of appreciation. First, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to Universitas Hasanuddin. I think we can all agree that this event set up a great example of excellent partnership between the two institutions, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Universitas Hasanuddin, also with the MIKTA countries, serving as the platform for fruitful discussion of international cooperation, especially within the scope of the 7 priority issues of MIKTA itself. From Ministry of Foreign Affairs to Universitas Hasanuddin, please give a big round of applause for the fostering partnership between the two institutions that make the third MIKTA Goes to Campus talk show possible. Also a little gift. A book about MIKTA. And next, from the Vice Rector, representative of the Universitas Hasanuddin, to Mr. Shihab from Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia. Please give a big round of applause for Universitas Hasanuddin. Thank you for making this happen. Also a little gift from Universitas Hasanuddin. Give a big round of applause for both sides of the parties. And now, we would like to invite all the distinguished speakers and discussions to join up in front for a photo session. All participants be ready. After this, we're gonna take photos with you. Okay? Okay. And 1, 2, 3, smile for MIKTA. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Please give a big round of applause for our speakers and MIKTA representatives. Now, if you will, sir, could you please turn around, sir, ladies and gents, turn around as we will take the photos with the participants. Maybe 2 steps back. Okay. All participants, please rise. Stand up. You are part of the history in the making right here for MIKTA. So, please give out your best smiles, everybody. This is a history in the making over here. We're gonna have so much fun and very, very insightful. So, on my count, let's take a photo. Smile first. Very, very distinguished and formal first. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, now one more. We will have a video recording. On my count, 1, 2, 3, we will say MIKTA Goes to Campus. Woo! Okay. Can we do that? Okay, so on the count of 1, 2, 3, MIKTA Goes to Campus! Woo! Thank you. Please give a big round of applause for everybody. Thank you, everybody. Now, before we commence to the main agenda of today, which is the talk show, we will have a short presentation, a video, if you will, from MIKTA to introduce ourselves to everyone here, for the general public and students of Universitas Hasanuddin and other students from Makassar. So take a look at MIKTA.
MIKTA está buscando formas para superar la crisis económica.
MIKTA mencari cara untuk
MIKTA está buscando formas para superar la crisis económica.
MIKTA mencari cara untuk meraih pembangunan berkelanjutan.
MIKTA'nın 고민합니다. 기후변화에 대처할 방법.
MIKTA, savaşın zararlarını azaltmak için yollar arıyor.
MIKTA is seeking ways to protect citizens from terrorism.
MIKTA, a brand new, innovative consultative group for addressing global issues. Although the 5 MIKTA countries come from diverse cultures and regions, we share core values and similarities. MIKTA is a new and innovative partnership that aims at promoting the public goods of the international community with their significant regional influence and strong commitment to addressing global issues. MIKTA is seeking to find solutions to global problems through active discussions. MIKTA will narrow down the differences between countries and come up with creative solutions. Furthermore, MIKTA will take the lead in promoting accountability in global governance. An open and flexible consultative partnership, MIKTA. The international community has recognized MIKTA's great potential. Launched at the Foreign Ministers meeting, MIKTA is gradually expanding its consultative channels. MIKTA is also creating a synergy effect through various forms of people-to-people exchanges. Furthermore, MIKTA will continue to cooperate with other regional groups to increase connectivity between regions.
MIKTA avanzará hacia un futuro más próspero.
MIKTA akan terus berusaha demi pembangunan berkelanjutan.
MIKTA는 힘쓰겠습니다. 더 푸른 지구 환경을 위해.
MIKTA, dünyayı daha huzurlu hale getirecek.
MIKTA will endure to make the world safer.
MIKTA has struck a balance between diversity and similarity. MIKTA will pave the way for the prosperity of mankind.
If you want to answer this question, raise up your hand quickly and I will come to you, okay? Is that clear? Yeah, okay. You?
Okay, so the first question is, please mention the 5 member countries of MIKTA.
Oh, slow down, it's not done yet. Lower your hands, everybody. Listen to the questions first.
Okay, please mention the 5 member countries of MIKTA as well as the capital cities of each country.
Okay, lower down your hand, everybody. Lower down first. I will count. Lower down. Lower down, everybody. Lower down. 1. Lower down your hand. The nice lady over there. Lower down your hand. 1, 2, 3. Raise your hand. Okay, I think that lady over there came up first. Please mention your name and where are you from and your answer.
Okay, thank you. My name is Asria Yunisa. I'm from International Relations, Hasanuddin University. Mexico, Indonesia, Korea, Turkey, and Australia.
The capital city, please.
Indonesia in Jakarta, Korea in Seoul, Turkey in Istanbul.
No. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Thank you so much. Give a big round of applause for this lady over here. We will try once more. So please mention MIKTA's member states, 5 of them. Ooh, she's jumping. And also the capital city. Okay, lower down your hand. Lower down your hand, everybody. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think that lady over there came up very fast, yes. Same, please mention your name, where are you from, and your answer.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anissa Apriliani. I'm also from International Department of Hasanuddin University. So the countries are Mexico, Indonesia, South Korea, Turkey, and Australia. Australia's capital city is in Canberra, and then Turkey's capital city is in Ankara, and South Korea's capital city is Seoul, and Indonesia's capital city is Jakarta, and Mexico is Mexico City.
Sorry, what was your name? Anissa, you may come forward with me. Please give a big round of applause for Anissa. Yuyu, second question, please.
Okay, the next question is very easy.
Very easy.
When was MIKTA established?
Okay, that sir, that gent over there, please. Okay. Please mention your name, where are you from, and your answer. When was MIKTA first established?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Azhar Asad. You can call me Azhar from International Department of Universitas Hasanuddin. MIKTA was established in 2013 in UNGA, New York.
Correct.
Correct. Azhar, you may come forward to me. Okay, MIKTA was established in 2013. It was first actually, the idea was formed in 2012. But then again, it was officially built in 2013, the first meeting from the Ministry of MIKTA itself.
Okay, Joel, for the next question is, please state the theme of Indonesia's coordinatorship in MIKTA 2018.
The theme of Indonesia's coordinatorship in MIKTA 2018. I'll give you a hint. The answer is actually behind me somewhere. Okay, the gent over there. You may rise up. And who do we call you, Mr.?
Okay, please call me Firdaus. And the theme for this event is fostering creative economy and contributing to global peace. You can see it right there.
Firdaus, you may come forward with me. Okay, so the theme for Indonesia's coordinatorship for MIKTA in 2018 is correct. Fostering creative economy and contributing to global peace. We will have to see what next year's coordinatorship under Mexico the theme will be. Okay, so now we would like to kindly invite the Director for Development, Economic and Environmental Affairs, Mr. Mushin Sihab, to give our winners for this morning their tokens of gratitude. Please come to the center. Please give a big round of applause for our winners for the warm-up quizzes. And don't worry, for those of you who hasn't get the chance to answer, we will have another post-discussion quiz with more substantial matters. So listen carefully to what the speakers has to say. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Shihab. You may return. Oh, one photo? One photo with everybody? Okay. Thank you, that is in order. Please return to your seats. Terima kasih, thank you.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, speakers, participants, and ladies and gentlemen, we have now arrived at the main event, which is the talk show with our 4 honorable speakers and 2 distinguished discussants. And this session will be moderated by Ms. Aumi Anggreni, the Assistant Analyst for Bank Indonesia.
Let's give a big round of applause for Ms. Aumi Anggreni. Ms. Anggreni is currently working for Assistant Analyst for Bank Indonesia. She focused on the development of Regional Investor Relation Unit for South Sulawesi region currently. Previously, she graduated from International Relations major, Universitas Hasanuddin with cum laude honors in 2015. And she also contributed in the joint research on fair trade with Freiburg University, Germany in 2014. So without further ado, Ms. Anggreni, the floor is yours. Please give a big round of applause for our moderator.
Thank you. Hello everyone. Are you excited? Are you excited? Okay, thank you everyone. Now, as the graduates of international relations, I think one of the exciting part is we actually never know how to predict the future. In 1992, Francis Fukuyama, through his book, claimed that the end of history will be liberalism. Now, when we see one of the strongest power holder among the nations actually shifting its foreign policy from multilateral to one approach, we never know what's happening in the future. Now, opposite to that, among the emerging countries, they approach different values. They approach multilateral, they approach regionalism after the Second World War, followed by the Cold War itself. One of the organizations that created after that war is G20. 5 members among this G20 that projected by G7 will become the next power holder specifically in economy, actually create an innovative partnership, and that's called by MIKTA. MIKTA is actually a unique partnership, consists by 5 represent countries from each continent: Mexico, Indonesia, South Korea, Turkey, and Australia. Now, MIKTA, since its establishment in 2013, aimed to become the bridge builder and also agenda setter. Now, under the coordinatorship of Indonesia in 2018, MIKTA will focus to fostering creative economy and also supporting global peace. Now, for your information, Indonesia in 2018, in the second quarter, already grew into number 5.27 year-on-year basis, which basically the highest economic growth since 2013. Indonesia, through its creative economy, already facing several challenges, and we would like to see how through MIKTA, Indonesia able to grasp the possibilities of opportunities lay in the future. Now, I'm really glad to stand as the moderator in here. Now, I'm going to welcome each speaker for the talk show and also the discussions. The first one is Your Excellency Muhsin Shihab. Please come forward, sir, as Director for Development, Economic and Environmental Affairs. Your Excellency Armando Gonzalo Alvarez Reina as the Ambassador of the United Mexican States to the Republic of Indonesia. Mr. Alastair Cox as Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of Australia in Jakarta. Mr. Hak Jo Kim as the Counselor of the Embassy of the Republic of Korea in Jakarta.
the discussant Ms. Rahima Abdul Rahim as the Executive Director from the Habibi Center. Mr. Nanto Srianto as the researcher from Indonesian Institute of Sciences. And last, Mr. Agus Salim Burhanuddin as the lecturer from Department of International Relations, Hasanuddin University. To all ladies and gentlemen, sit down. Now we are going to have this talk show into two sessions. The first session would be me giving several questions to the Honorable and also the discussions in order to warming up your knowledge of how MIKTA will able to maintain its position in international affairs. The second session will be all yours. So if you have any questions on regard how MIKTA actually contributing in international affairs, how Indonesia coordinatorships in 2018 able to gain the opportunities, then the second session will be all yours. Now, we are going to directly move to the first session. Good morning. Now, I'm going to ask several questions for all speakers in here. Now, we see that 5 members of MIKTA is a part of G20. And when we see the G20, we talk about the middle power. We sit in between, we don't want to take sides, but yet, in the future, we probably will gaining important positions in order to shape the global affairs. Now, what do you think MIKTA positions as that middle power? Who is going to?
Thank you very much. It is indeed an honor for me to join this very important event and also hopefully a very lively discussion that we would be listening also inputs and even criticism, if possible, from the students here. First of all, it is indeed that the 5 countries are considered as middle powers. And as you might be aware that after the aftermath of the economic crisis in 2008, the role of great powers was considered increasingly declining. But at the same time, the role of the emerging economies have also been increasingly influential in the international stage. So this is the background why MIKTA countries had a common idea to get together to form a partnership. It is not an organization, it is not a forum, it's a partnership that could be very functional in contributing to the global governance, because the global governance with its challenges and also opportunities is too huge to be left to the great powers only. That's why we came together and built up a partnership to address many challenges of global governance, and we had the same vision to strengthen the global governance. And that is also the very reason why sometimes we claim ourselves as the guardian of multilateralism.
Thank you. Now, so we can see that in international relations, we often think that when it comes to join relations among nations, it only consists on either its organization or it's only organization. But now we have new approach in here, which is partnership, that focus in MIKTA cases is global governance. Now, more about global governance, we talk probably about democracy, we talk about probably transparency. Now, for the all speakers, what do you think about MIKTA specific roles in order to shape the global governance? Probably Your Excellence, Mr. Armando.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here. Well, yes, as the moderator said during the introduction, can you hear me? The world today is very different than it was 20, 30 or 40 years ago. It cannot be continued to be managed by a small number of great powers. Emerging powers are every day more and more important by themselves, but not only that, also because they are bridges, so as the moderator also said, they are bridges between the rich and powerful countries and the rest of the less developed countries. We are in the middle. We can balance this situation. We can champion the causes of practically every country in the world. At first sight, we are very different. We live in 5 different neighborhoods in Latin America, Northeast Asia, Southeast Asia, Oceania, and Europe, Middle East. We have different religions: Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, in different varieties. We have different political systems. We speak different languages, 5 different languages: Bahasa, Indonesia, Spanish, English, Turkish, and Korean. We have different level of development. So apparently we're very, very different. However, we hold the same values internally and internationally. Internally, we are all strong democracies that want to reinforce that condition, the condition of being democratic countries, and working for the whole society and not just for a section or a fragment of it. Internationally, we are very much in favor of multilateralism. In these times, as also the moderator said, we are witnessing some very negative trends, like the return to unilateralism, like criminalization of international migration, like the return to the bilateral FTAs rather than global FTAs, than like reversing the advances of the WTO in world trade. Many negative effects. So it's up to us. It's up to the middle powers who profess the same democratic faith and have the same international values to reverse those trends and advance the trends for inclusion, advance the trends for multilateralism, and advance the trends for a global, healthier and safer environment for the whole mankind. So, and that is exactly what MIKTA is trying to do.
Thank you. Now, for Mr. Alistair Cox, under the idea of global governance, we know Australia is already famous as become the upfront guardians of democracy in Asia. Do you think Australia through MIKTA also able to contribute to creating global governance?
Well, terima kasih sekali. Saya sangat gembira atas kesempatan hadir di Universitas di sini di Makassar, universitas yang terkenal di Indonesia sama di Australia juga, dan ada banyak mahasiswa yang dari sini kami harap akan nanti ke Australia dan meningkatkan hubungan antara Australia dan Indonesia juga. But thank you very much for the invitation to come here. I think that MIKTA can contribute a lot to global governance and coordination, and I think we see again right now the challenges that we face. As you said before, MIKTA is 5 countries, middle power countries in the G20, and we know that the G20 had a big role in stabilising coordination during the last financial crisis in 2008. And I'm afraid to say that we again see big problems of global macroeconomic coordination happening right now, with the US going through what they're calling normalization of interest rates, and we're seeing interest rates increase in the United States, and this is causing chaos in some of our financial markets in emerging countries. We see the fall in the value of the rupiah to the US dollar, also the fall of the Turkish lira, and we're also seeing problems, even the Australian currency falling as well. So again, we're seeing big problems of lack of coordination of global economic governance. So I think it's the role of countries like the MIKTA to reinforce the need for better global macroeconomic coordination, and I hope that at the upcoming meeting of the G20 in Argentina, which will be later this year in November, countries like the MIKTA countries will be enforcing again the need for proper macroeconomic and financial coordination, because the combination of lack of financial global coordination, global economic governance on the macro side, together with threats of trade wars and combination of, we can see the bilateral tensions between Turkey and the United States contributing to Turkey's situation is very serious. Same with Argentina. Argentina's not a member of this group, but that's quite serious as well. Sorry? And they're in the G20, yeah. They're hosting the G20. So I think the countries, middle power countries like this, have a particular role again now, and very important role this year, to say that we need better macroeconomic coordination, better macroeconomic governance, and we need the leading countries like the United States and others to better coordinate with us. So I think again the role of MIKTA is prominent, and but it's not easy. We can see that countries like the United States and China, countries like Japan, the big countries, they do have a lot of power, and if they choose to act in unilateral ways, they can be very destabilising. And we're seeing the evidence of the destabilisation happening right now. So this is the problem, and people in Indonesia and elsewhere scratching their heads saying, why is the rupiah falling and this doesn't make sense? Well, it doesn't make sense in one sense, but in another sense it does. If large powers operate unilaterally without proper coordination with everybody else, it creates trouble. And that's what we're seeing now. So the need for this sort of caucus, this sort of forum, is very significant today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. We actually eventually already get the grasp of how important it is to gain the consciousness of every nation to coming back to multilateralism approach in order to fix the financial problem and all the uncertainties that happens in current conditions. Now, back to the core of MIKTA itself, which is to become the innovative partnership. I'll address the question to Mr. Hak Joachim. As one of the members of MIKTA, what is actually the contributions of South Korea in order to fulfilling the idea of innovation? Like we say, MIKTA itself as the new innovative partnership. Can you explain to us the example of those innovations?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, maybe I think that everyone now understands that what the MIKTA stands for and what the MIKTA can play, what role the MIKTA can play during this very, somewhat different situation. But at the same time, to South Korea, MIKTA means somewhat different meaning. We have a very unique experience, and I think that we can have something. We have something to contribute more to MIKTA, especially on the side of the innovation process. The South Korea is the only country which transformed itself from the recipient country to donor country in official development assistance to developing countries. And so we know very well about the needs in the field. And we also understand what the developed countries want to see when they decide about the development assistance. So I think that in this area of development assistance, we can we can create more innovative ways in consultation with other countries as well. At the same time, I think that the innovation itself is kind of very difficult concept to me, but I thought about it, and next week, the Indonesian government will host the parliamentary speakers meeting in Bali, and you know that it's kind of very innovative way to approach the issues. You know, when it comes to the government, the role of the parliament, the role of the Congress is very important. And if any government, any administration wants to implement any policy, you want to have the Congress or Parliament from the beginning on board. And now the MIKTA has the speakers meeting next week, and it is very good. And you know that in every country it is very hard and difficult to control the Parliament. But if you have themselves, the Congress and Parliament from the beginning stage, then we can have more momentum and more tools and budget to implement the real policy on the field and to get the tangible outcomes in the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we are going to ask the discussants. Now we see that MIKTA itself stands within the global challenge. We're facing economic policy uncertainties. We are facing trade wars, several wars, civil wars in other regions. Now, what do you think the future prospect of MIKTA, and how MIKTA, due to all that international affairs, able to maintain its relevance?
Is this for me?
Yeah, is it for you?
Thank you. First of all, it's really exciting. It's really exciting to be here. Saya juga bisa bahasa Indonesia loh. No, that's not a jab to you, Alistair. Don't worry. But I actually, before I answer that question, I'm very glad that Ms. Anggraini is the moderator. It was getting a little bit lonely being the only woman in the panel. So thank you, Universitas Hasanuddin, for appointing Ms. Anggraini as the moderator. Can I just have a show of hands of the students here? Who's doing international relations? Okay. Engineering? Medicine? Kedokteran? We are in the Faculty of Medicine, no? Environment? Law? Okay, so a majority of you are international relations. So I think in answering the question of innovative, and I of course appreciate that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of course takes the lead in a lot of these, in MIKTA Goes to Campus and bringing this. But one of the things that I always, and why I ask the question of where you're coming from, of what you're studying, is because that's, I think, the beauty of MIKTA being very informal and consultative and being able to be nimble and being able to be agile, is because we're not just talking about foreign policy. We're not just talking about relations between countries in the usual fields. Being innovative means, as Mr. Kim just said as well, in innovation and being able to navigate multilateralism in a very unique, innovative way, and in actually engaging and being inclusive in the different fields. So I think how it can remain relevant is continuing to be not just relevant for students of international relations as we address young students who are the future of Indonesia, but also addressing other fields and exploring those other fields. we were very glad when Indonesia choosing the theme for the chairmanship is fostering creative economy and contributing to global peace, because again, the creative economy, you remain relevant because you are harnessing the creativity of everyone and when you talk about creative economy, it transcends generation. It's not just students who are dabbling away perhaps on their computer designing something amazing and then putting it out on as an app or whatever it is, but it also, creative economy also targets women, an older generation of women who are trying to preserve their traditions by reintroducing weaving, reintroducing their textiles to a younger generation to preserve it. So it transcends all of that. And I think the relevance of MIKTA is because I think we are not putting it in a box. I think the relevance of MIKTA will always be there because we have, I think the countries have committed to being a creative multilateral, and with that I think the sky is the limit. And so it's not just, it doesn't necessarily just mean just the relations between countries when we're in trouble. It doesn't just mean the political systems of each of our countries. It also means harnessing all of that creativity in whatever shape and form that we can then connect the peoples of the 5 countries. So remaining relevant means harnessing that creativity and harnessing the power of youth. And what I enjoy about speaking at in campuses and being part of MIKTA Goes to Campus, this is my second one. I missed the Solo trip, unfortunately, although I am from Solo. Yeah, it was a missed homecoming, but this is my first time in Makassar. Although I work for a boss who is from this area. You may know him, Pak Habibi. So yes, he is from here. So he's Putra Daerah, I guess. So I work for a Putra Daerah. But at the same time, it's making sure that being relevant means not just addressing youth as an audience, but including youth as stakeholders in how we want to shape MIKTA in the future. Because this is not just going to be, this is the chairmanship of Indonesia this year. Mexico has it next year, hopefully. And then in the years to come, we see how this develops. In the next, maybe we'll have it again in 5 years, and when we come, it'll be a new group of students, and you all perhaps maybe sitting here talking to the next group of students about how you want to see MIKTA develop. So that's, I think, how to make it remain relevant.
Thank you, Ibu.
Can I compliment?
Oh yeah, please.
The mere existence of MIKTA, it's an innovation. The way it is integrated, the way it works, the way it builds bridges between different countries and regions, the way it sets the international agenda, all of that is very innovative. So MIKTA itself, it's an innovation. But also, in turn, MIKTA is very much concerned about innovation. So much that within MIKTA, a group on innovation has been created. At the 8th meeting of MIKTA Foreign Minister, a group to promote innovation was announced, and the leaders of this group met for the first time in September 2017 in Australia, and recently in July 2018 here in Indonesia. Indonesia held a meeting of experts of MIKTA for the creation of an inclusive digital economy hub, IDE, which aims to serve as a platform to promote the adoption of emerging digital business models in MIKTA and G20 countries, and perhaps Indonesia can speak a little more about this, in particular this idea.
Thank you very much. Let me complement the explanation, the previous explanation. we are trying to keep the relevance of MIKTA by organizing many events that would also have impact to the people itself. For example, I can mention earlier, Australian coordinatorship established MIKTA Innovation Group, and that pulled together all the innovative leaders. And we, Indonesia's coordinatorship, is trying to give some more meat to the MIKTA Innovation Group. We just finished organizing the Startup Fest. For example, we invited all the startup players from each and every member countries of MIKTA, and also inviting the startup players from Indonesia itself. It was a great success because it was attended by more than 100 startup players, incubators, accelerators, and we also organized the business matching. So this is a very direct, tangible relations among them. We are actually trying to be the catalyst. We are facilitating the people-to-people contact, business-to-business contact. So it is a real functional partnership. So like what has just mentioned by Ibu Ima, that to keep the relevance, we really need to harness continuously the functional partnership of MIKTA. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, continue to the discussion. Now, for Bapak Nanto, what do you think about the future prospect of MIKTA? Among many partnerships, among many organizations, what is the future for MIKTA?
Okay, thank you. I think the future is in the hand of God. But I think since the situation now, we're facing leaderless global order, I think MIKTA position is quite open, and I think there is since you know what the main theme of MIKTA is, the new narratives, means both the 5 countries do believe that they have a sense of agency in maintaining what Muhsin said, the guardian of multilateral. So I think, like Indonesian itself, we are not, sometimes we believe that we are a big country, but actually we are not that big. But we do have a contribution to the global order. We do have a Bandung conference, which bring the word sovereignty to become incorporated for the post-colonial countries. We have contributed to UNCLOS, that we have introduced it since Deklarasi Juanda in the 50s. And we have Pak Mohtar in that time. Pak Mohtar Kusuma Atmaja in the 50s, I believe is a young scholars who helped Prime Minister Juanda to introduce the concept to the world. And finally, we have the UNCLOS in 80s when Pak Mohtar became the Indonesian Foreign Ministry. So this is a long road, but as long as there's a persistency, we can contribute to the world as an order. Order is in a scholarship. I would like to quote Andrew Pillet from my university in Queensland, that order is a long-term concept. So if MIKTA want to have a future, it has to maintain what the practicality, despite that they have a big ideas. So this is two kind of practicalities and big ideas could become the major contribution of MIKTA. Since you know that in the G20s we have a kind of a bipolar, if I can say like that, between the BRICS and the old G7. So this is the role of MIKTA. The world belongs to all of the nations. The concept of bridge building is, sometimes we could say it as a voicing of the voiceless. Indonesia do believe that the development project, like Mr. Kim said, that being a developing countries as a recipient of ODA, I think we need to be more assertive. So there is a Paris Declaration. So there is a sense of that we do not only receive ODA, but we could also tell the donors that we do need this, and we should cooperate on that issue. So I think this is the idea of MIKTA itself, like the word partnership. I think is the concept of partnership, which means that we do not need to have a organization, but we do need a real contribution. So as long as this could be maintained for like, this is like more than 10 years from now, I think we could say that MIKTA could have another big scheme. So the future could be more elaborate on that time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Nanto. Now the next question for Pak Agus. Now, what do you think, based on your assessment, what do you think the achievement and shortcomings of MIKTA since its establishment in 2013?
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. But before answering your question, please allow me to, as a Bugis man and also part of Universitas Hasanuddin, please allow me to say welcome to Makassar and also to Hasanuddin, Universitas Hasanuddin, to all respected guests today. We hope that you enjoy Makassar. It's quite hot and traffic is terrible. And yeah, I think as a Bugis man, I would feel guilty if I don't say this. So please welcome in Universitas Hasanuddin and also in Makassar. And I think His Excellency Pak Musin Sihab also has Bugis blood in his body. Is it true? Yes, so welcome back home, sir. Please give applause for Pak Musin Sihab. Well, to answer your question, I think I would prefer using the term challenges instead of, rather than saying shortcomings or achievements for MIKTA. And the first challenge, I think, is MIKTA needs to grow closer to its own stakeholders, especially that are from non-state actors. Yeah. To illustrate this, allow me to ask the students, how many of you, I mean for the students, how many of you already heard MIKTA before today? Please raise your hand. So, it's very few. It's very few. This illustrates that I think after 5 years since the establishment of MIKTA, we're quite late to make socialization about MIKTA, to bring MIKTA closer to its own stakeholders, especially for, I said before, the non-state actors. And so today is the answer, I think one of the answer to meet the need of bringing MIKTA closer to the public. And I think we need also to get rid of the misperception that MIKTA is state-driven partnership. Yes. So we don't want the public say that MIKTA only belongs to the government because it's founded by the governments, run by the governments, and maybe only serve the benefits of the governments. So I think that's it's a good thing that, thank you for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, especially for the Director General of Multilateral Cooperation, for bringing this event to Universitas Hasanuddin in Makassar. And also we need that our stakeholders, we put our stakeholders not only as targets, but also as an actors of any MIKTA activities in the future, I think. Yeah, so maybe in the future we can maybe run event or activities that students can participate more actively. Yes. And it is also interesting that please correct me if I'm wrong. It is also interesting that among the 7 priorities in MIKTA's priority, I didn't find education. Yeah, I see counterterrorism, I see the trade and economics, and also peacekeeping, but unfortunately, I don't see any education as a priority of MIKTA partnership. So, well, I think that's a big homework for us, that education also important to make the world more peaceful. And also, another urgent challenge that MIKTA need to resolve, that the cohesiveness among the members. Yeah, it is true that we came from many distinct socio-economic backgrounds, and also specific circumstances, specific problem that faced by each member. For example, we know Mexico is experiencing hard time with its northern neighbor under Trump administrations. Everyone in the world. Okay, and I think that's a big concern for Mexico today, and also South Korea with the nuclear missile test. Yes, but I think we come with a common interest, and we come with common commitment that we share. We have something to share. That we have democracy, we have commitment for open trade, fair trade, and fair global governance. So that's, I think, that a big capital for the future for MIKTA. But we also have to be aware of what I call centripetal forces of power around MIKTA itself. I mean, within G20, there's another minilateral groups, right? Like we have G7, we have BRICS, for example, and those groups have it's kind of centripetal forces that try to attract members or interests of MIKTA, individually MIKTA's members. And for example, I think there's a signals of BRICS offer to Indonesia. They say that Indonesia, Mexico, and also Turkey are potential partners in the future for BRICS, and it can decrease the cost. I mean, if we don't anticipate this carefully, it can endanger the cohesiveness of MIKTA itself. And also, if this happens, I think if Mexico, Turkey, Indonesia go to BRICS minilateral groups, I think Australia and South Korea also have inclination to join the G7 interest. Yeah, because they're close. Their interest and their economic capability is much closer to those G7. Okay, and another thing that I would like to say here, that that's on the issue of international organization, we know that MIKTA aims is to be influential forces within G20 itself. And to be influential force, it is very important, but not only in MIKTA, in G20 itself, and also in United Nations as the major global organization today. And unfortunately, none of MIKTA members is the member of United Nations Security Council. Yeah, Indonesia is I mean, we studied for the 4 years, right? And then we checked. Then there's a signal, there's a discourse of expanding the permanent members of security council members. But it seems that none of any MIKTA members is potentially candidate for it. We heard that Germany, Japan, but none of MIKTA members become a potential member for the next permanent Security Council of the United Nations. I think that's a big challenge and for us, because it's very important to be in United Nations Security Council is very important because we can influence many things in the world. That's my opinion. I think it's debatable, it's arguable, but I think it's one opinion. And also, the last but not least, I think that while it is true that there's achievements of MIKTA in terms of institutionalization, for instance, MIKTA has successfully run or conducted senior meetings, foreign ministerial meetings, I think 10 times. Yeah, 10 times. But we haven't seen any leaders of the country meet together in MIKTA context to discuss any global issues. I think that's a big homework for us in the future, to bring our leaders, to bring our head of state or head of government to sit down together to talk and to agree and even to achieve agreement on major international issues. Well, I think that's what I call challenges for MIKTA, and I return to Ms. Bertha. Thank you.
No, please, sir.
Thank you very much. If I can complement this, I would like to mention that to decide how much MIKTA has achieved, it's very important to see what MIKTA actually is and what MIKTA is not. MIKTA is not an international organization. MIKTA does not have a bureaucracy. MIKTA does not cost to you, the taxpayers. It's an informal mechanism. MIKTA is not a military alliance. MIKTA is not even an FTA, a free trade agreement. MIKTA is an informal consultation group of 5 middle powers, 5 like-minded countries that are trying to pursue and to champion some of the best global causes. MIKTA, when it was created, defined three major objectives. Number 1, to strengthen the bilateral relationship and political dialogue among its members. Number 2, to conduct consultations and promote coordination on multilateral issues to contribute to the search for constructive solutions to global challenges. And 3, to promote joint cooperation projects. And in all 3 objectives, MIKTA has been tremendously successful. For Mexico, for instance, Mexico is very far away from Korea, from Indonesia, from Australia, and even from Turkey. Well, thanks to MIKTA, Mexico today is much closer to all other 4 countries than it was 5 years ago when MIKTA was created. Practically in every field, we have more political coordination, we have more trade with all 3 countries, we have more technical cooperation and exchanges, and we have more people-to-people contact with all 4 countries, members of MIKTA, apart from Mexico. internationally, MIKTA is every day more and more renowned for supporting global causes, and it has been able to be a bridge builder and an agenda setter internationally. And thirdly, MIKTA has defined a series of projects of cooperation between the members of the group and also with other nations or regions. So MIKTA has been tremendously successful in all three objectives. What's MIKTA what hasn't achieved yet? Well, for its nature, MIKTA is not going to change the world. There are many groups. So we need to be very honest about what MIKTA can do and what MIKTA cannot do. MIKTA cannot transform the world by itself, but MIKTA can give impulse to the best international causes and to bring together the country members of the group.
Ya, terima kasih. Apa yang penting sekarang ialah ini era globalisasi baru dengan kebijakan luar negeri sebelumnya itu sesuatu permainan elit kan, dan sekarangnya dengan era medsos apa yang penting ialah untuk mendemokratisasi kebijakan luar negeri. Ada kesempatan untuk civil society, mahasiswa, sektor swasta dan lain-lainnya untuk diikutsertakan dalam hal ehwal luar negeri. Dan ini alasannya, tujuan untuk forum ini ialah untuk ada pendapat-pendapat dari mahasiswa-mahasiswi dalam formalisasi menyusun kebijakan luar negeri dalam era baru ini, era medsos dan sebagainya, untuk mendemokratisasi proses ini. Dan MIKTA, negara-negara MIKTA ini ada keinginan untuk meluaskan untuk keterlibatan orang dari civil society dalam kebijakan luar negeri. Semua kegiatan-kegiatan yang dilakukan oleh MIKTA seperti forum seperti ini, keterlibatan ekonomi kreatif, keterlibatan orang dari parlemen, non-eksekutif pemerintahan, semua ini ada tujuan untuk mendemokratisasi proses ini. Dan ini penting, pesan dari forum ini untuk semua yang hadir, dan terima kasih atas semuanya yang cukup banyak yang hadir pada pagi ini, ialah untuk kalau ada pendapat-pendapat mengenai apa yang terjadi di dunia sekarang, itu penting orang di sini mengirim pesan kepada pemimpin-pemimpin negara apa yang penting di dunia luar, ya, kebijakan luar negeri. Karena itu sesuatu yang penting, tidak diam saja. Rasa ini satu permainan elit, baik di negara ini maupun di dunia. Itu karena sekarang semuanya ada suara kan, dan untuk mengirimkan pesan apa yang penting, barangkali itu perubahan iklim, barangkali itu masalah sengketa di beberapa negara di seluruh dunia atau masalah lain. Tetapi apa yang penting ialah kesempatan sekarang untuk orang mahasiswa, sektor swasta, orang lainnya di negara ini dan negara-negara yang lainnya, khususnya anggota MIKTA, untuk terlibat dalam proses ini. Dan mudah-mudahan dari forum seperti ini ada kesadaran untuk semuanya, ada kesempatan sekarang untuk melibatkan sendiri dalam proses ini, kirim pesan lewat medsos atau cara yang lain, apa yang kalau ada sesuatu yang kekhawatirkan sendiri mengenai apa yang terjadi di dunia sekarang, ya, menjadi masalah untuk orang, for you personally, you get involved. Don't just sit quietly. So that's the key message of this democratization process, and I think that's the future. And I think, in modern global governance now, people need to get more involved and express their views. So we hope we have a direct question session with you later and you can get more involved. But that's the objective. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hasanuddin. Please, Mr. Hak.
Thank you. Well, I have to learn Bahasa Indonesia. Actually, it's just 3 weeks for me to be in Jakarta. I came directly from Washington, D.C., and this is the first time for me to be in Indonesia, but I have to learn Bahasa Indonesia like you. But anyway, so many people know Korean?
It is widely recognized in here.
So did you enjoy the performance by the Econ and the Super Junior? That's our power, soft power. But we also need hard power. So, thank you. Thank you. Yes, now we are discussing about the challenges we have and the shortcomings the MIKTA has. But at the same time, I think that we need to expand our discussions to the future of the MIKTA as well, based upon what we have seen about the performance by the MIKTA. And actually, in South Korea, we are going to have the chairmanship in 2020, the second coordinatorship in 2020. And before that, now in Seoul, we are thinking about how we can upgrade the MIKTA to the next stage, to the next the level of cooperation. And so we are now thinking about the so-called MIKTA 2.0 concept. And one of the key elements in that concept is that we think that we need to upgrade the level of engagement to the leaders level, the summit level. And as you know that during the past 5 years, the main mechanism in the MIKTA was the foreign ministers meeting. But we think that based upon our past experience of the cooperation, now we think that it is time for us to upgrade to the summit level, and so that we can get the political momentum to do more things, more tangible outcomes we can have in the future. So that is one thing I would like to share with you. And one more thing is that, yes, it is very important to really have a real impact to the people on the field. So I think that we can think about the next, maybe we spent 5 years before, and we have another 5 years in the coming years. So we can have more creative ideas about how we can have a tangible outcomes and a tangible impact on the field. For example, maybe we can have think about the joint humanitarian assistance project. So all of the 5 countries, we have a very strong interest in the humanitarian assistance issues, and especially in Indonesia as well, I think. And maybe we can have more mechanisms to facilitate the exchange between our business sectors as well. Maybe we can think about the improvement in the immigration process and the visa issuance process, and some maybe the fast track for the businessmen among the MIKTA countries at the airport. So these kind of things. And maybe you will like this, the tourism issue. Maybe tourism. Maybe so we can have this year might be the tourism year of Indonesia, next year Australia, so that we can cooperate. So this kind of soft issues, the cultural exchange and immigration and other tangible outcomes, I think that we can have more things, more room to do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hak. Now, please, Pak Syihab.
Thank you very much. We have to be realized that we are still 5 years. It was just established less than 5 years. Actually, in the next few days, we will be celebrating our 5th year of establishment. Within 5 years, we have actually achieved quite a lot. Of course, we still have to do much more. For example, if those who are from International Relations Department may have learned about the difference between soft organization, the so-called soft organization, and rigid organization. Usually, forum organization was established with very rigid rules and regulations. But MIKTA, we started from the bottom. We started from functional cooperation. We are not a negotiating bloc. We are not a rigid organization with specific rules and regulations. But we did produce a vision statement. We have our vision. We have our guidelines. We have also tried to coordinate among ourselves to voice out our vision in the eyes of international fora. We have many joint statements already issued, but we also have coordinated meetings with international dignitaries, like last week, for your information, an Indonesian permanent representative in New York organized a meeting among all permanent representatives from MIKTA countries, had a dialogue with the United Nations Secretary General, encompassing many issues ranging from migration to peace building, even the United Nations Security Council reform. We did our vision, and we are also planning to have a joint out on the UN Security Council reform that will be issued probably in the very near future. So we have done a lot, but of course we do have some challenges, like what mentioned by Pak Agus, that we need probably to elevate the level of engagement to leaders meeting. Indeed, we are thinking of that, and it was already addressed during the ministerial meeting in Buenos Aires last May, and we are now trying to finalize the deliverables, because we don't want our leaders come together and have a gathering, but they don't deliver anything. We have to make sure that the leaders, when they meet together, they have deliverables, and it is a tangible, action-oriented deliverables. That's why we would like to keep the informality of MIKTA. We would like to have a more functional cooperation. In our 5th year, we have MIKTA Innovation Group. We have MIKTA Speaker Consultation Meeting. We have MIKTA Academic Network. Although we don't mention very specifically on education in our 7 core priorities, but we have MIKTA Academic Network that would also include education. We have MIKTA, now we are trying to establish MIKTA Tourism Operator Network. We are trying also to have a digital hub, but it is under discussion still. But of course, with this achievement, we can be proud of MIKTA, but also at the same time, we have to be realistic, like what Ambassador Armando said. We have to be realistic. We cannot overcome all the problems, all the global problems, but at the very least, we can have the same or common or shared views on how to mitigate the global challenges. And with that, we can even elevate
the visibility of MIKTA, and our homework is actually how to make people can feel the impact of MIKTA to the economic cooperation, to business contact, to many areas of functional cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shihab. Now, Mr. Shihab, continuing to the goals about MIKTA. Now, I think me as well as the students in here, quite curious why Indonesia in 2018 choose to support, to focus on creative economy and also global peace. Could you elaborate more on the reasons on that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Creative economy is one of the tools to boost the economic development and economic growth. We know very well that how digital economy, how social media could also help boost up the economic growth. At the same time, in Indonesia itself, we know that creative economy has already contributed about almost 7.5% of the GDP. So it is of crucial importance for us to strengthen our creative economy, and at the same time, all MIKTA countries share the same view, the importance of how creative economy in contributing to the global GDP. And creative economy is, I would say, one of the areas that is very much inclusive, that would include many segments of the people, and it would create new job opportunities. So as the middle power, if we get together to address the importance of creative economy and how to formulate the very effective policy on how to boost up creative economy, that would be very much impactful. Secondly, on the fostering, on the contribution to the global peace, all the MIKTA countries are, I would say, contributor to peacekeeping operation. We are all very much committed to contributing to global peace. Many MIKTA countries, or if not probably all, stand to be corrected, have a peacekeeping operation center. So I think it is good for us to get together to also have an idea how to effectively offer policies and also action to the global world to the creation of a more peaceful world. That is also the very reason why Indonesia, next month, we are going to organize a counterterrorism workshop and interfaith dialogue. In fact, this is the second interfaith dialogue. At the beginning of this session, Ambassador Armando mentioned about the differences that we have. Now we would like to bridge all the differences. We have the same internal and international values, the very principal one, but we have many differences, of course. That is, we need intercultural dialogue, interfaith and intercultural dialogue. That would also add the understanding of the people on how to cooperate each other. On the peacekeeping, we had our women peacekeeping operation workshop already, but this is just a start, or I would say just a tease to later on be continued by next coordinatorship, how to be more effective and more systemized cooperation on how to contribute to the global peace.
Now we have enough talk on how MIKTA would like to solve the global problem with its new approach. Now I'd like to hear from each respective speaker from MIKTA's member, how actually by joining MIKTA will able to fulfilling the national interests of your countries? Start from who is going to talk? Okay, please, Ms. Alistair Cox, if you may.
Well, thank you for that. One of the big national interests of Australia globally, and this is in our foreign policy, key policy documents like our foreign policy white paper, which you can find on our website, is to preserve a rules-based order. And as a medium small country in the world, we've really benefited from a rules-based system. So internationally made rules which everybody complies with, the WTO, UN system, other regional rules-based mechanism, ASEAN, the ASEAN rules-based order that's kept the peace in ASEAN countries, between ASEAN countries for over 50 years. So these sorts of rules-based systems, we see this as in our direct national interest, because it preserves the peace and allows us as a country to get on with the job of our own national economic and social development. So the breakdown of the rules order, if the countries of the middle powers can't continue to encourage the bigger powers to maintain the order, or we can't transition the order to something new, that's going to be a big problem for us. So this group, MIKTA, at this time, represents something which is very relevant to preserving a rules-based approach to things. So it's not abstract for us. It's not just an abstract thing, this rules-based approach. This is the fundamentals about keeping the environment prosperous and keeping the peace so that we can get on with our national interests. So encouraging that is a critical thing for Australia. So that's a critical part of our national interest.
Thank you. And now please, Ms. Ambassador Armando, if you may.
Okay, thank you, moderator. So somehow I already mentioned about a little about that, but I can tell, for instance, that Mexico is a country very much open to the rest of the world in all four cardinal points. To the south, if you see a map of Mexico, Mexico is located between the four most important economic regions in the world. To the north, NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which is being renegotiated right now, and we are part of NAFTA so far. So far. And to the south is Latin America, which is very, very, very important as well. And in Latin America, we are part of a subgroup, sub-region called the Pacific Alliance, the Latin American Pacific Alliance, which are the countries in which this name of the group does not come only from the geographic position of the countries in the Western Hemisphere, Peru, Chile, Colombia, and Mexico, but also comes from the vocation of those countries to integrate and to be full members of the Asia-Pacific economic and technological process. So we are part of the Latin American Pacific Alliance, and we are a full member, of course, of the Latin American community. With Europe, we have an FTA in full operation with all 28 European Union countries. And by the way, that treaty has also been renegotiated very successfully. We have already finished renegotiating the FTA with all 28 European Union countries. And to the west, we were historically the first Latin American country to join APEC more than 20 years ago. And currently, we are one of the 11 members of the TPP, along with Australia. Which was originally an initiative of President Obama, and then was abandoned by President Trump, but the other remaining 11 countries decided to go ahead. So Mexico is very much a part of the Asia-Pacific economic dynamics, We also have a coordination mechanism between the Pacific Alliance and the ASEAN in this region. Mexico is the biggest country in the Latin American Pacific Alliance. Indonesia is the biggest country in ASEAN, in territory, in population, and in GDP. So being a middle power, being a country that stretches to all four cardinal points, MIKTA is a very important instrument for Mexico's foreign policy, because it allows Mexico, on the one hand, to strengthen the bilateral relations with Australia, with Indonesia, with South Korea, and with Turkey. By the way, Australia is negotiating right now to be an associated member of the Latin American Pacific Alliance as well. Well, we hope that in the short term, Indonesia will also have a similar treaty with the Latin American Pacific Alliance. So it allows Mexico to strengthen the bilateral political, economic, and technological and cultural relations with all other four countries that are physically very distant from Mexico. But it also gives more weight to Mexico internationally, being associated with four more strong democracies, four more middle powers who hold the same international values and give Mexico more voice in the international arena. So both bilaterally and multilaterally, MIKTA has been very good asset for Mexican foreign policy.
Thank you, Ambassador. Now, please, Mr. Haq.
Yes, thank you. Actually, Korea is what is the most famous thing about South Korea? The K-pop. But maybe I think that one more thing is that the North Korea. You know, yes, because the very vital interest of South Korea in the Northeast Asia region is that to secure the peace on the Korean Peninsula. And now you are seeing, you are observing the slow but steady progress about the nuclear issues in North Korea. So the most important national interest of South Korea is that how we can establish a permanent peace regime on the Korean Peninsula by addressing and solving the North Korean nuclear issue in a very fast manner. And I think that this, as you know, that this month in September, our President Moon is going to pay a visit to Pyongyang, and this is the second visit this year already, and I think that at the end of to the end of this year, we are going to have maybe some more progress on the case in the margin of the UN, United Nations General Assembly and other occasions as well. But I think that again, when it comes to the North Korean nuclear issue, the MIKTA platform is very important and useful one to us, and we appreciate the very strong support from our MIKTA partners about the North Korean issue, and at the same time, the support for the peace on the Korean peninsula there. So that is our national interest. But at the same time, as you know, that the economic interest and the trade interest is very important to us as well. And of course, like my colleague from Australia has already said about the foreign value of the rupiah in this country. But at the same time, in South Korea, we are allowed at the same time experiencing some kind of economic difficulties as well. Of course, it is not about the international one. It is more of a domestic one. The divide between the rich people and the poor people, and you know, the digital divide. Those kind of domestic issues should be addressed and in a very fast manner as well. So this kind of economic and trade issues should be discussed with our MIKTA partners But at the same time, I mean, the global issues is very important to us as well, like the climate change and the energy issues and human rights issues as well. So all in all, you know that frankly speaking, to be honest with you, as I told you, the North Korean issue and the Korean Peninsula issue is the foremost important thing in our diplomacy. Maybe some people say that more than 50% of our diplomatic energy and diplomatic resources are consumed in this issue. So, but through the MIKTA platform, we think, and I believe that the perspective of South Korean diplomacy is now enlarging to the another areas, such as the global issues. So I think that it is very important, and at the same time, I mean, I would like to emphasize the strengths of the collective diplomacy capabilities. I mean, of our 5 countries. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we are going to open the second session, which will become yours. Okay, now we are going to open the first session by allowing 3 questions. So for those who have a question, please raise your hand. Okay, how can I choose? Okay, can you lower your hands first? Lower your hands. So please, for those who have a question, raise your hand.
Check.
I think one from the very behind the glasses one, and from here, yeah, the glasses also. We still have one here. The man behind. Okay, thank you. Now please mention your name and also your faculty.
안녕하세요. 네, 여러분. 앞들입니다.
Terima kasih.
That's the Korean way. That's the Korean way. Please.
My name is April. I'm from International Relations Department of Hasanuddin University. So, MIKTA has shown us a video, and it was mentioned about youth camp, and the distinguished speaker also mentioned about how to including youth into the process of these groups. So I want to ask about further information about this program, which is youth camp, and will this be available for bachelor degree university student? And if no, I wish there will be one, so we could contribute more on beating the great powers to raise MIKTA to be the best.
Okay.
So 감사합니다.
감사합니다. Thank you, April. Now second in line.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Alfitra Risuci from International Relations Department. My first question is there any tips for us as the young generation for the MIKTA future? And the second is there any platform for us to contribute in MIKTA future? Thank you.
Thank you, Alfitra. Now, last.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, sir and ma'am. My name is Muhammad Nursidik Hamdan. I'm from Environmental Engineering Department from Faculty of Engineering, Hasanuddin University. I want to ask a question about the focus about the Indonesian government that focusing in peace and safe and economic creative in focus in this period in MIKTA. Why there is no environmental focusing in order to I think there is a seven purpose that MIKTA focusing, right? And one of them is sustainable development. Why there is no environmental issues that MIKTA focusing in Indonesia? I mean, there is a lot of environmental issues back in Indonesia, excess of water, excess of energy. In Korea, I think there is environmental issues in excess of health and quality water. In Mexico, there is a pollution issue. Why is there is no environmental focusing in this MIKTA? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sidik. Now, for now, we are going to have these three questions. I think two questions from April and Alfitra focus on young generation contribution on MIKTA. I think,
yeah. Yes. So, thank you very much for the questions. Because I did focus on youth in what I said, I think I can probably answer this question. First of all, for the youth camp. The youth camp was actually done by your government, Mr. Kim, in Korea, but it was there were participants coming from all 5 countries, and all of them were represented by either students or young lecturers, Shihab mentioned earlier about the MIKTA academic network. So in Indonesia, the focal point for that is the Habibie Center. So how you can contribute is actually perhaps through us or asking information through us. And actually, if you followed us on Twitter or Instagram, you would have had the opportunity to contribute through our essay contests earlier, I think it was last year? When was this? Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. So the Habibie Center often holds essay contests. Last year was on MIKTA, and being the academic focal point for Indonesia, we announced that opportunity. And we had amazing contributions and amazing submissions from different universities. I'm not sure if anyone submitted from Hasanuddin. I hope there were. But hopefully in the next round we'll be able to. The reason why we hold these essay contests is also, as Pramosin said earlier, was about getting input from the bottom up, getting input from the youth, and actually even some of the the contributions and the submissions were really innovative. It was. The theme that time was MIKTA's role in unlocking global solutions, and you really had interesting contributions. So that's one way that you can do it. But kind of going back to some of the things that have been said in the panel, I know like MIKTA 2.0, we've been talking about elevating MIKTA to having a summit level. But my other understanding, and coming from civil society, elevating MIKTA is also elevating the role of youth. So including how you can contribute is, and I love actually the fact that MIKTA is informal and that it's not rigid. It means that you can contribute more without having to have an official status, and you can write about it. Ideas coming from you, and Pa Alistair already mentioned about social media. How you contribute ideas to that is, and how you, instead of, and again, sometimes chatter and conversations on social media can be fun, but it can also be fun and useful. And giving us ideas through social media is one way of reaching the leaders. You don't always have to sit in informal settings. And in informal settings, you can also reach some leaders, some more active than some, are very active on social media. But if your contribution is something that's worthwhile, that's one way. So there's not always only one medium where you can contribute, in my opinion. The other way is also, I think, ensuring that we have the partnerships not just through government, how you can engage with your local government or with businesses and with the media I think those are ways, and when I say media, it's not just social media, but also the mainstream media, to ensure that voices get heard. So I think there are so many different ways. I hope that there's going to be another youth camp at some point in the future, perhaps during the next chairmanship or when Korea has its chairmanship in 2020. But those are just some of the avenues. There are innovative ways that you can perhaps also contribute.
Thank you. Any additional comments from respected speakers on how young generation may contribute through MIKTA? Okay, I think that's enough. Now we are going to the second question from Sidik that focuses on environmental issues. Why under Indonesia coordinatorship we do not include environmental issues, and how actually the nation's contribution through MIKTA in order to solving the environmental issues. Please, Pak.
Thank you very much, Pak Muhammad, for your very pertinent question on the importance of environmental issues. We do realize that environmental issues, also climate change, renewable energy is of crucial importance for us. And in fact, one of the core priorities of MIKTA is also the cooperation on energy and also sustainable development goals. So we have a broader vision of environmental issues included in the sustainable development goals. But within 1 year of coordinatorship and with the informality of MIKTA, of course, we have to admit we cannot cover all the core priorities. In the next, probably next coordinatorship, we would be happy to share some words, probably not only on the coordinator's burden, but it could be addressed by some other MIKTA countries. But I'm also pleased to inform you that although it is not specifically addressed by Indonesian coordinatorship on environmental issues, we are coordinating among ourselves to have a sort of joint statement during the SDGs forum in the United Nations, in the high-level political forum. Last July, we had our joint statement that reflect all the interests, all the visions of each and every member countries of MIKTA, and we have the same, we share the same vision that we need to speed up the process of Paris Agreement implementation. We have the same vision on the importance of renewable energy, but also not only the implementation of renewable energy, but also the element of accessibility and affordability, because we have different level of development among MIKTA countries. So we did address the issue of affordability and also the accessibility of renewable energy. So we are not ignoring that very important issue, but unfortunately we don't have enough time to address specifically during the coordinatorship of Indonesia in the form of workshop, in the form of expert meeting. We are trying to focus on two very important issues to our understanding, is creative economy and global news. Thank you.
Well, just to add that regarding environment, we are 5 countries very much concerned about the degradation of the world environment. 2 countries that work together very strongly. Well, actually, Indonesia hosted the COP13 here. Mexico hosted the COP16 in Cancun, and together with Australia, Korea, and Turkey, we contributed very much to pave the way for the Paris Agreement that was successfully signed and recently withdrawn by by President Trump. But anyway, we continue to support very much the Paris Agreement. And by the way, in particular, Indonesia and Mexico are two countries very much vulnerable to climate change, and we are suffering very much from this. Even Australia has more bushfires, has more cyclones. You had not cyclones some time ago, and now you have cyclones and hurricanes and droughts in Australia. Australia is also suffering very much from climate change. So we are working very much together in creating a world awareness of the situation, and creating also the political will to achieve the goals that have been set in the Paris Agreement.
Thank you. Please.
Okay, we received two questions about the youth activities, the youth exchanges. So may I add one more thing to that issue about the youth exchange? I'm very, some of you may know that President Jokowi is going to pay a visit to South Korea this Sunday, and he's going to stay in Seoul for 3 days. This is going to be a state visit, and we are now discussing about many deliverables and many accomplishments that we can have. And the youth exchange program will be one of the big and important items, I guess. And maybe I think that you will see what happens during the President Jokowi's visit in South Korea. And I appreciate at the same time the central role the Indonesian government plays about this youth exchange. As I know that the Indonesian government and Indonesia has already operated that kind of a similar youth exchange program with Australia, and now you are going to have the similar one with our country, South Korea. And maybe I think that Indonesia will expand that youth exchange network to other Mexico countries, Mexico, Turkey, so that we can, after that, we can have a more complex network about the youth exchange in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I think we can still open for two questions. One from you, that would be, okay, the other one would be, you're the only one who raised his hand actually for you.
For this opportunity. My name is Warda Karima from International Relations, Hasanuddin University. My question is, talk about partnership or coordination. Is there any law or rules that apply in this partnership to be changed or not? If it exists, how the mechanism of the rules are going? Is it work per argument or not? And then after 5 years, is there any solutions you got? And is there any outcome and output from MIKTA after 5 years? Thank you.
Thank you, Karima. Now the last question.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fadil Aksam. I'm from Engineering Faculty of Universitas Hasanuddin, and thanks for your time. We know that one of the members of MIKTA is at Turkey. Now, Turkey was still towards about the financial crisis. There is a lira has been down, and this is I know that this is the internal problem of Turkey, but I have to know what are the contributing of MIKTA to to solve about the problem the leader has done. And because I know that 4 members of the MIKTA have still have the good relationship with both of the Turkey and US, just like Indonesia, good relationship with US, and South Korea is the best friend for US. And I think what they contributing the MIKTA in this problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fadil. Now, the first question talk about how actually the system running inside the MIKTA, because it's so new for the students. They are not getting used to something that not in the system, out of the box. So it seems that they need more explanation on how, for example, agreements are being made inside of MIKTA.
Thank you very much. Like I mentioned earlier, that MIKTA is not a negotiating bloc. MIKTA is not a rigid organization. We don't have a rigid rules and regulations, but we do have common or share the same values. The values of democracy, the values of free and open economy, and the value of good governance. So these are the values that we share together, and with these values we try to build up our cooperation. And how the agreement, we don't have any sort of rigid agreement, but we have already issued many joint statements on many international issues, and the joint statement were coordinated by the coordinators, and we communicate each other through WhatsApp. We make use all the social media, emails, WhatsApp, even video conferences. We held our senior official meeting through video conferences. We will be having another one probably in the next 10 days. So senior officials from each member countries sitting together in their respective rooms and try to talk each other and to address some or very, very important issues. So we keep the informality of MIKTA, and the outcome, because there is also a question about the outcome or output. We have already the MIKTA sort of guidelines. We have MIKTA vision statement. So these are actually the big outcome, and we have the 7 core priorities of MIKTA. So these 3 document, let's say it, so to speak, documents. These 3 documents guide us how to move forward in order to elevate and also to to keep the visibility of MIKTA alive in the eyes of international stage.
Thank you, sir. Now, the next question actually talk about Turkey financial problems. It's unfortunate that Turkey is unable to sit us together in here, but we still talk about how MIKTA will be able to approach a new way to solve the financial problem. Now, if there is any chance among the respected speakers able to speak about how MIKTA will able to solve the problem of currency in Turkey. Mr. Cox?
I might say, thank you, I might say something short. I mean, there's no Turkish embassy representative here, so it's a bit difficult to speak on behalf of another country. But I think some of Turkey's problems are domestic and some are international. And the combination of the domestic problems and the international ones together have made the situation worse. So Turkey is facing quite a lot of challenges. I think it's not MIKTA's role to get involved in Turkey's internal affairs, But as far as the international side of it goes, we've seen a lot of ramped up threats and action from the United States towards Turkey. And so I think, and including on the economic, trade and financial front. So I think in the context of the rules-based approach, which we champion, we would like to see these problems between Turkey and the United States worked out through international legal mechanisms. You know, trade disputes should be worked out through the WTO, international financial coordination should be worked out through the IMF, international bodies, including also the G20, to ensure better coordination. I don't think it's in anyone's interests to see the Turkish economy destabilised. I mean, Turkey is an important middle power, an important neighbour of the Middle East and Europe. So we all want to see the situation in Turkey stabilised. Turkey's made a lot of progress internationally over the last 20 years economically. There's been a tremendous amount of economic growth, infrastructure development, education, and Turkey has developed enormously. So that's a great benefit to everybody. So we want to see that continue. So we don't have any interest in destabilising. So I think where MIKTA can help is by encouraging the use of, through our statements, through our activities, promoting rules-based approaches to international financial and trade order, the resolution of Turkey's disputes with the United States and others through internationally recognised rules, and hopefully then also Turkey can address some of its own domestic issues as well, but that's a separate matter. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we're actually coming to the last session. Now we are going to giving chance for each respected speaker to giving a brief closing statement. Now we are going to start from, I think, from discussion first. Start from the order. Pak Agus, you may.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. I think MIKTA, after 5 years, has shown good progress in terms of helping its members to improve or to have better economic performance, and also MIKTA has also cover many issues in terms of making better international order, and also making a better good governance. And also I think MIKTA already goes beyond the box of G20 itself, and it's also MIKTA can also play not in traditional playing ground, but also in many aspects of many platform and many aspects of on an international stage. And however, there are still some challenges that MIKTA have as a homework to do in the future. Many works to be done in the very short time in the future, including how to get the public sectors to be more participating in every MIKTA's activities. I think that's all I can say for the conclusion.
Thank you, Pak Augusto. Next, Pak Nanto.
Okay, thank you. My comment is that I hope that MIKTA still focus on practicality and informality, since the two is most innovative substitute of this partnership. So despite that, the two, I think by focusing on the two, we could also give a focus on the big ideas. Let's say that the peace issue in the Korean Peninsula. By MIKTA means that the peace issue is not dominated by North Korea and US. Also the people of Korea, the people of Japan, the people of China, because the peace, the Korean Peninsula peaceful issue is related to basically to the people. So this kind of new narrative, which means practicality and people-centeredness, brought by MIKTA, is the big ideas, but down-to-earth issues, which I think relevant to Indonesian government now, but also in the future, the democratization issue of foreign policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Hento. Ibu Ima.
Okay, so probably for my last word about MIKTA is that I think we need to embrace the fact that it is informal. I think in that way we are able to be more innovative. We are more able to be nimble and agile in coming up with global solutions for global problems. And again, I mean, I can say it, I may sound like a broken record, but I can't stress how important it is to have youth not just as an afterthought, but have youth be part of the stakeholders as well. They're native to technology and new ideas. So I hope that going forward, MIKTA continues to be as innovative as it has already been, not just in the way it runs, but also in thinking and learning from actually other multilateral groupings or learning the lessons of what not to do. And not learning the lessons of what to do, but what not to do. The issue of the problem that Pak Agus mentioned earlier about how many of you know MIKTA. Yes, it is an issue of branding, but it's 5 years old. ASEAN is 50 years old. And I could do an ASEAN quiz right now, and I think only a few of you will pass. So that's the other thing. So it's still something, it's new, so let's build it to be, and let's shape it into what we think it should be. And that means your contribution. That means all of you. Not just you students of international relations, it's students also of engineering, students of medicine, environment, all faculties, they need to contribute as well. So for that note on how to contribute, you can follow us on, this is shameless promotion, because I'm shameless. So shameless promotion, so follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Habibi Center on ways that you can contribute in the future when we do announce other, because we would be partners when there's a youth camp, we would probably be the partners in selecting Indonesian participants. Also, we will also be, if there's any essay contest and whatever. And yeah, tell us right now, from now, I know you guys are all on your smartphones, you're tweeting and all of that, I know you guys. So while you guys have your smartphones out, tag all of us at Habibi Center, at Australian Embassy, at LIPI Politics, and hashtag MIKTA. Get the word out there. So it's in your hands as well.
Ibu Ima, next, Mr. Haq, please.
So today I learned a lot from my colleagues at the podium, and at the same time I learned a lot from the insight and the creative ideas and suggestions those who are in this auditorium now. So I think that the three pillars with South Korean government is that the three pillars of the MIKTA will be this one. The first one, to enhance the utility of the MIKTA system. And the second one is the visibility of the MIKTA. We have already discussed about the visibility issues, and the visibility issues will continue to be some kind of challenges we have to address. And the lastly is the versatility of the MIKTA as well. So let's come back to the visibility issues again. We have the MIKTA website, and at the same time, we have some kind of very important documents. Like my colleague said in the past, we have already adopted the vision statement and the guidelines, but we will produce more. And at the same time, we are going to produce more tangible outcomes, I hope. And the last 5 years, which is very somewhat relatively short period of time, we have more time to do in the future. And I think that the youth will be a main the contributor to the cycle, the virtuous cycle between the public sector and the private sector in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Now, please, Mr. Alastair.
Okay, terima kasih lagi dan terima kasih kepada Kementerian Luar Negeri Indonesia atas undangan yang disampaikan kepada saya untuk hadir di Lokakarya seminar ini. My final word, apart from thanks to the Foreign Ministry and to Universitas Hasanuddin for being here, is just a bit of an analytical point, maybe for the students of foreign international studies, is that this MIKTA is very much an example of what you're going to see, and this isn't the only model like this that's going to happen. I think now we're seeing the breakdown of the old Western-dominated post-World War II international order that was, dominated by the United States and Western countries in the Western world, in the Cold War, and we're now seeing the multilateralization, multipolar world, and this MIKTA, these 5 middle power countries, are an example of the multipolar world now operating as medium powers try to exert greater influence and control and over their environment in a changing global situation. So MIKTA is a very early example. There will be more, but it's also the time of social media, it's the time of greater democratization, as I said, so we're going to see more attempts to involve civil society in foreign affairs and international policy. So for those students who are interested in this MIKTA is an example of the times we live in, the times of great change with the decline of existing power, the rise of new powers in Asia, the real ferment of global power. And so MIKTA represents a response by these countries to that kind of environment. And other new models of that kind of engagement will emerge over time in this time of enormous change. And as we've been saying, youth like you who are the inheritors of the new era that will be emerging, you need to voice your concerns, your issues. If you just stay silent, then things will happen that you may not like, and if you don't say anything about it, well, that's all of our problem. But you can't blame things if you don't try to participate. So that's the key message of today, and that's the times we live in, times of great change. But a country like Indonesia, an emerging country with a large young population, where the potential for the dividend, economic dividend, in the next 20 years is enormous from economic growth, and potentially you've got a great stake in the future and you need to participate. The world is changing, and some of the changes are very much to your advantage here in Indonesia, so you need to get involved. So terima kasih lagi atas kesempatan ini, dan saya harap semuanya terlibat dalam perubahan global sama regional yang terjadi sekarang. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Bapak. Next, Ambassador Armando Gonzalez, please, sir.
Thank you very much. Well, if the moderator allows me, I would like to use these closing remarks to speak about MIKTA's immediate future, next year. As you know, Mexico was the first coordinator of MIKTA 5 years ago, and now the cycle has to begin again, and Mexico will be the coordinator in 2019. However, as you also may know, we have had presidential elections recently in Mexico, and we will have a new president that comes from an opposition political party. He will take power on the 1st of December. So it will be up to the new government that comes from the opposition to outline MIKTA's priorities for 2019. However, there has been a very intense coordination between the outgoing government and the incoming government. And we know that Mexico will design an action-oriented work program that contributes to enhance MIKTA's role, both as a bridge builder and an agenda setter, and to create a source of creative solutions to global and regional issues. We will focus on further deepening our collaboration on the 7 core priorities defined by MIKTA. As you may know, the 5 priorities are the following. The 7 priorities are number 1, energy; number 2, commercial and economic cooperation; number 3, security and combating terrorism; number 4, sustainable development; number 5, good governance and democracy; number 6, gender equality; and number 7, operations for maintenance of peace worldwide. Those will be the 7 priorities for next year for MIKTA. And of course, we will try to continue the outstanding job that Indonesia has done this year with MIKTA. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, next.
Thank you very much. Much has been said, which I entirely agree with all the speakers. I would just like to offer a challenge to the students. If you could, especially those who come from International Relations Department, if you could write a thesis on MIKTA, and your contribution will be very much considered by us. If it is really good, I would encourage you to also have a close cooperation with Habibie Center to translate your thesis into English, and we will put your thesis at the very least on the website of MIKTA, so that every MIKTA country can read and also try to adopt some of your valuable thinking on how MIKTA should move forward. I think that is my challenge to all the students. And lastly, I would just like to extend, on behalf of the government of Indonesia and also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, extend our sincere thanks to all the speakers, the discussion, all the participants, the moderator, and the Universitas Hasanuddin. I thank you very much, and I'm waiting for the thesis on MIKTA. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Now that's all the closing remarks. I think for me personally, as the graduate from International Relations, MIKTA is the new approach for how we deal with global current conditions. MIKTA is a way for us, and we need to embrace it. We cannot only stand on the traditional view in order to approach current problem. MIKTA is a way, and therefore we need so much to learn. Therefore, I really agree with what Pak Sihab said, that for international relations students, we can also make MIKTA as the thesis I already made my thesis, your thesis in the future. I think that's all. Thank you for all the excitement. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for all respected speakers. I also personally learning a lot of through these discussions. Now, because this is also my right from the MC, I would like to close this session. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Please give a big round of applause for our speakers and our moderators. Big round, everyone, big round. And one photo with the moderator and the speakers, photographers. And after this is one of the moments that you've all been waiting for. Who would like to have some quiz? Nobody wants some quiz? Okay, then nobody wants the MIKTA book then. Okay, we will have some quiz after this, don't worry. One photo. I think our enthusiasm from all the participants can only show two things, basically, what I think. First, I think we can agree that we gain notable insights about what MIKTA is and what MIKTA can do, actually through this third MGTC talk show. And also, you may return to your seats, distinguished speakers and discussants, also the moderators. And also second, I think we can all say that we are very excited to see what this MIKTA's innovative partnership has in store for all of us, especially the students. Thank you, you may return to your seats, distinguished speakers. One more time, big round of applause for our moderators and our speakers. Now, I have some quiz for you. Let's see, what should we ask for? Should we start easy or should we start very hard? Okay, let's start very hard then. I'm joking, we'll start very easy. We just want to see how far have you gained knowledge on what MIKTA is and what MIKTA can do actually. Okay, so my first question, if you know the answer to this question or if you feel you know the answer to this question, don't hesitate to raise your arms. Remember what our speakers say, contribute to MIKTA's partnership. This is one way to contribute. So, we know that MIKTA's partnership is bonding very well and has grown very strong in the past 5 years. I would like to ask, can you mention one characteristic of each member state that they all have in common that makes it possible for us to work very closely in MIKTA? Okay, we have one candidate over there. Please say your name and where are you from and your answer. So please mention one characteristics that all MIKTA's members share that makes them possible to work together.
All MIKTA's country members are G20.
Yep, that is correct. Please give a big round of applause to Mbak Siapa. What's your name? Sorry?
My name is April.
April, you may come forward. Give a big round of applause for April. So yes, that is true that all of MIKTA's members are actually part of the G20 and also what makes them possible to work together in this informal discussion group, I must say, is that they are all middle powers. They have influence in their own respective region. For Indonesia, we can say we are the normative leaders of ASEAN. For Mexico, there's the Latin America Pacific Alliances, and Australia, very prominent in the southern hemisphere of the earth. And also Korea, rising power in Asia as well. So yes, that is some of the characteristics that MIKTA's members share. Okay, second question. I think I'll go easier this time, I think. Should we go easier? Was that hard? Was that a hard question? No? Okay, so we have heard from our speakers what MIKTA can and what MIKTA cannot do, although we know that MIKTA has a lot of potentials in its hand. Can you please mention one core strength that makes MIKTA a very unique and innovative partnership? Okay, the gent over there. Please mention your name, where are you from, and your answer. What is one of MIKTA's core strengths in its form or in its partnership?
Thank you for the chance. My name is Muhammad Rifli Mubarak from Anthropology Studies. So the strength course of this partnership is about how MIKTA can control the organizations or the programs without any rigid rules or rigid things that make concentration to MIKTA itself by any rigid or something that can control very tight to this organization. That is the point. Thank you.
Let's give a big round of applause for Mas siapa? Sorry. Rifli. Okay, Mas Rifli, you may come forward. Please give a big round of applause for Mas Rifli. That is correct. One of MIKTA's core strength is how MIKTA actually can work without any rigid, let's say rigid rules or rigid rules of procedure, etc. like that. Or in other way, we can say that MIKTA is an informal group discussion. So you can be very inclusive and also very innovative in its range and also in its, as we can see, it has people-to-people diplomacy as well as business-to-business diplomacy. So yes, it is true, Rifli. It is innovative because it is very informal and it's very wide in its scope. Thank you. Now, last question. I think we should go easier then. Okay. Can you please mention MIKTA's chairmanship both before Indonesia in 2018? So that means like who were the chairman for 2017? Why are you rising? I'm not done yet. And also after Indonesia in 2018. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. So who's before Indonesia in 2018 and who's after Indonesia in 2019? Okay. Yes, the lady over there. Please state your name. Where are you from? And your answer. So who were the chairman before Indonesia? So that means MIKTA's chairmanship in 2017 and after Indonesia, which means in 2019. Okay?
Okay. I think in 2017 there is Mexico and 2019 will be Korea.
Please give a big round of applause for this lady. Unfortunately, the answer is not yet corrected. Okay, the lady over there then. So before Indonesia, that means before Indonesia, 2017, the chairman, and then 2019, who will be the chairman? It's already been mentioned up front on the stage several times, I must say. Okay, your name, where are you from, and your answer.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurani Sel Hasmi, and I am from International Relations, University of Hasanuddin. The chairman of MIKTA before in 2017 is Turkey, and the next chairman in 2019 is maybe Australia. I don't know yet, but I know.
Would you like to try again, maybe? Okay, I'll give you one more chance. Who will be the chairman after Indonesia for MIKTA in 2019? Ask the audience.
Korea.
Should we give her one more chance or should we change? Okay, let's change then. You're almost correct. You're half correct. Don't worry, you already contributed. Give a big round of applause for her. Okay, same question. Lower down your hands. In 1. Lower down your hands. Lower down your hands. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that one over there. Dito. Okay, Dito. Dito percussion. Please say your name, state your name, your institution, and your answer.
Okay, thank you for the time that you have given to me. My name is Dito. I am from international. I'm so sorry, I just feel very nervous because feel very different. Okay. I am from International Relations Department of Universitas Hasanuddin, and my answer is before Indonesian, maybe it's a Turkey, and after Indonesian, it will be the chance for the Mexico.
Is that correct? That is correct. You may come forward, Dito. Give a big round of applause for Dito. Yes, that is true. So Indonesia got the baton for chairmanship in MIKTA in 2017 for Turkey. There was a meeting held in Istanbul, if I'm not mistaken, and then there the chairmanship was over to Indonesia. And in 2019, as His Excellency Mr. Ambassador has stated several times on the podium, Mexico will have the chance to be the chairman of MIKTA after the 5 years ended. Because we have 5 members, so 5 years ended, rolling back to Mexico once more. Is that clear? Yes, okay, so now I would like to invite Mr. Shihab to give the token of appreciation. Okay, I would like to invite Mr. the Ambassador to give, together with Ibu Rahimah, to give the tokens of appreciation to our winners today. Come to the center, please. Give a big round of applause for our winners and for our speakers as well. You may give the token of gratitude one by one. And photo session, maybe Ibu Rahimah over here. Yes. Smile, show the book. Show the book. Show the book and your face, please. Okay, smile. Yes, people, it's turn around, okay. Smile. Thank you so much. You may now return to your seat for all the winners and also Mr. Ambassador and Ibu Rahimah. Thank you. One big round of applause for our winners. So I can see that we finally learned something about MIKTA. So previously when one of the speakers asked to us like, who here knows about MIKTA? Probably only 1/10 of the room raise your hands. Now, Mr. and Mrs. distinguished speakers here, let me ask them. Who knows MIKTA here? Who knows MIKTA already in here? A little thing about MIKTA is no problem. At least you know something. Have you not heard the speakers? Okay, who already know what MIKTA is here? Not too sure? Not too sure? Okay, that is okay. This is a start of something new and we are making history here. We will learn a thing or two, so make sure that, as Ibu Rahimah said, follow Habibi Center to give real contributions. And also remember what Mr. Shihab said. If you will, try to write your thesis on MIKTA because it is a fostering economic and other social cooperation between Indonesia and also the 4 partners country. Now, before we conclude our today's talk show and our today's event, we would like to have 2 participants here to give their insights, their comments, or their recommendations for MIKTA or anything, how they feel about today's event. I would need 1 gentleman and 1 lady. Any gentleman volunteers here? Okay, you may come forward, sir. Please give a big round of applause for your friend over here. And I need, there's already a candidate over here. Come forward, madam. Please give a big round of applause for our friend over here as well. So, you may give any insights or comments about MIKTA or MIKTA Goes to Campus. What do you think about this event and what do you hope for MIKTA in the future? Okay, that's for both of you. Is that clear? Okay, you may start.
Okay, my name is Davarenda from International Relations Hasanuddin University. I think this MIKTA is very good, very innovative. And I have an idea for the ministry MIKTA member that maybe someday, one day, we can make some sport competition between MIKTA groups, just like Islamic nation in Palembang in 2013, or like Ganevo, but just MIKTA group members. So His Ministry Rena can bring Chikarito to Indonesia. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Nabilul Ramadan Hussain and I'm from International Relations from Universitas Hasanuddin. Actually, MIKTA is a really great informal organization. And I just already know about MIKTA. I do hope that MIKTA can improve everything especially for Indonesia itself, because our country is really needs your help. And you can see what about every single thing is more difficult for us if we do by ourselves, and it will useful because more helpful because we have you all to help us, and therefore thank you very much for your participation, and of course all of our participation here, and for all of the gentlemen and ladies here, hopefully we can let the world know who MIKTA is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Who MIKTA is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for both of you. Please stand at the center. I would like to invite Mr. Hak Jokim and Mr. Alistair Cox and Pananto to come forward to give the token of gratitude for them, to take a photo as well. One photo, smile. Cheese, MIKTA. Okay, thank you. That will be all. You may return to your seat. Please give a big round of applause for your friends over here who have given their testimony on MIKTA. Yeah, you can give. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are reaching the concluding feature of today's third MIKTA Goes to Campus talk show, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank all of the distinguished guests, speakers and discussants, and also our moderator, and of course for our enthusiastic participants who have spent their valuable time to attend this talk show. Please give a big round of applause for all of us, for everyone around here. And unfortunately, I must request all the speakers and the discussants to leave the venue because we still have another agenda to attend to. So, Mr. Shihab, if you will lead all the speakers and discussants through the front area over here to the exit, and there will be the committee that will gather all of you. Give a big round of applause for our panelists for today. See you. Bid you farewell. Thank you so much for your insights, for your knowledge, and for sharing. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we sincerely hope that this event has provided all the participants here with a better understanding and insight of MIKTA, right? Right, okay, and its form of cooperation, its prospect and potentials, and particularly under Indonesia's coordinatorship in 2018. Before I close this event, there are two important announcements. First of all, regarding the certificate for this event. Okay, now you're all silent because this is very important, right? Okay, so the certificate will be provided in the front desk by the committee from Universitas Hasanuddin. And second, regarding the lunch boxes. So, yes, regarding the lunch boxes. Yeah, lunch boxes. Okay, in order for you to get your lunch boxes, you need to bring your seminar kit. So you need to bring this to the front desk and then you will get the lunch boxes. Because we have the capacity of 400 participants, however, if I'm not mistaken, we are now reaching the number of 500-ish in the beginning of the session. So I'm afraid not all of you may get the lunch boxes. But if you have the seminar kit, then you will get the lunch boxes and the certificate. So with that being said, my name is Kevin Joel Anthony. I'm Joel. We bid you thank you, we bid you farewell, and see you in next other event. Bye-bye. Thank you. Please line up accordingly over here, okay, for your certificate and lunch boxes. Please queue in order. Let's show Indonesia has its merits and morals. And if you see any leftovers, any trash, please pick them up. Remember that two of MIKTA's issues are sustainable development goals and energy, which is an environment. Thank you.